So, how's everybody liking Bubsy? It's really weird. I'm probably only one of the main a few people that really liked Bubsy, unironically. And yeah, you guys can say, but the game story sucked. Not for me. I I took that shit as a challenge because I'm Bugsy No Name Kid. I'm Bugsy No Name Kiddos. It's it's finding something good in something bad that you all don't like is kind of my thing. Except for 3D. 3D had problems, and I am not gonna pretend like it did. But that analog version I got in the Bubsy collection, ooh, perfect, just chef's kiss. But I want you guys to know something. When I was working on the Mirai universe, because I was like, let's just say I was going through a lot of stuff at that point, I needed something to kind of throw my head into creatively that wasn't really videos. It wasn't really something that wasn't really like was super uber bad. So I was like, you know what? Let me create something, and I created the fedora in this little writing comic universe experiment of mine, and then I wrote Bubsy shit because I was like, you know what? Like, what would happen if two people did take the Bubsy license and did whatever they wanted with it? I did forget Bubsy had a girlfriend because it's been a while since I saw that fucking pilot. So he had, instead of Olivia, I gave him Cecilia because my girlfriend like actually came up with the name. Babe, babe, give me a freaking. I was like, give me a freaking name, and she just said Cecilia. I was like, babe, give me a female name that doesn't get used, and it's like, she said Cecilia, and I was like, mm. But yeah, it really just started as me just kind of doing like a simulation, like recap, coming up with plots and then putting the Fedora and Bubsy together. That's why they're called the Chaos Portal Crew. And yeah, you'll see a lot more of them because, come on, you really thought that was the end of them? Hell no. But I gotta call them the Chaos Portal Crew because I don't want like Atari kicking me in the balls. You know, like they own Bubsy now, and I gotta make sure that they know that my shit is a fan thing, and I'm not trying to like encroach. I'm not trying to encroach on them. I'm not trying to do any of that shit. So, anyways, you're probably wondering to yourself, Bugsy, Bugsy, my dear man, how do you feel about 4D? I feel like the Bubsy that I wrote is kind of the Bubsy that's being in for the Bubsy we're seeing in 4D. I mean, yeah, there's obvious differences from my writing, but it's so fucking close to my writing. Like, and no one would know because literally, most of the Mirai Universe stuff I've kept to myself, and the half of it is like in a Google Doc. Half of it's like in a big ass Google Doc. So so it's like when you really think about it, no one else could see it except for me and the people I've shown it to. Not like Atari could have got on it at any point, so I'm not really even concerned about that. But it's so close. I just chalk it up to great minds think alike. Because I'm tired. Because I was tired of Bubsy always being the joke, the guy that always sucks. Because y'all never saw his potential. Those were my words going in when I was doing my little rewrite project. And I end up making a whole entire comic universe. And I was going through some stuff during that time. So I was like, so I don't know. I don't know. I tapped into something that I didn't even know I was even thinking about. Like, I just got into it thinking about plot, storylines, fucking the in the in outer universe characters of D- Dirk and Dirk and Davis. You know, it was crazy. But I really started to show that Bubsy is more of like a hero who acts goofy to kind of feel make people feel better. You know, I had the Darkness of the Bleeding Moon thing that I wrote, and that was more about like, what if I put Bubsy in the fedora in this like real dark, foreboding situation. And yeah, Bubsy gets into a coma for a week, and then I bring Bugsy Prime in there because I was like, you know what? It's my shit. It's indulgent as hell, but I'm gonna do it anyway because you know, fuck the dumb shit. I'm indulging myself. When do I ever really indulge myself for real on this level? So I was like, fuck it. Bugsy Prime comes in and helps, and you know, it was just this like really kind of fun moment where I was just like, I didn't care. Like, I cared about story structure. I cared about like all this different stuff, but you know, I was like, hey, no one's gonna see this, so I'm gonna do whatever I want. And I gotta tell you, I was having the time of my life. And the one thing that only sucks because ChatGPT back in the day cuts you off at a certain point. So I'm like building out the universe, like really fine tuning it, and it's just so good. Bubsy has a kid named Kit, and you're probably like, why'd you go with Kit? I have no idea. I was thinking about Kit Cloud Kicker at the time, and the thing is, I had Cecilia as like the person that is like Bubsy's complete, utter polar opposite. Like, she's serious, she's no nonsense. But you know, I always liked the whole opposite attracts angle. So I kind of went with it. I even had simulated, like, I even had the Mega Forums, which was like a simulated review thing, and I just, you know, just to kind of add authenticity to the simulation. You know, it's one of those things where it's just like, it's whatever I want, so I'm gonna just do whatever. You know. And if anybody says, "Oh, Bugsy, that's sad," or "Bugsy, that's stupid," or "Bugsy, this is just dumb," hey, motherfucker, if you can embrace the fact that you like, you know, you like doing things self-indulgent that you may think is cringe, that's on you, man. You don't accept yourself, so you hide the fact that you're a little cringy. I just feel like everybody always doing like, oh, cringe, this is cringe, that is cringe. You making a fan fiction is cringe. It's like, bro, then I dare you to accept yourself in all facets of your being. If you can't do that, like, oh, okay, guess what I'm saying is cringe. That's on you. That is on you, my friend. Personally, it's kind of cool that Bubsy is now like, everybody is starting to see Bubsy the way I have seen him for years, and it's like, it's a weird feeling. It's like overnight, it's like everybody sees what I've always seen in Bubsy. Because to me, Bubsy has always had the potential to be one of the great video game mascots. It's just people have given him the wrong material to work with. Me, I did it more of he's like a hero. And this one in 4D, from what I can see, he's more of a reluctant hero that's like, we gotta fight the Woolies again? And I'm like, I kind of like that. It's very different from the kind of like goofy, heroic Bubsy that I've been writing, but it still feels like it's in the same ballpark. Like like a lot of people could say, well, Bugsy, like his other games always sucked. Well, they weren't masterpieces by any stretch of the imagination, but I never hated them like y'all did. When everybody hated, when even Bubsy 3D had like its redeeming qualities, even if it had its problems. Everybody else railroaded Bubsy 3D so hard though. Your Jontrons, your Nitro Reds, everybody. I always said if like Bubsy had different controls, it'd be a little bit more fun, a little bit more tolerable. And lo and behold, years later we get that. Everybody's like, but Bubsy has always sucked Bugsy. I know they're wrong. Some people said Bubsy has always sucked Bugsy. And you only like him because Bubsy kind of sounds like Bugsy, and I'm like, maybe, but I also kind of like him because what Bubsy's a goofball who, to me, has always tried to mean well. Even when he screws up and he's trying to save the day, he keeps on going, no matter how many times he gets crushed, flattened, blown up, torn to pieces, all that stuff. Bubsy's still going. And I really, really, really dig that about him. And I feel like 4D is kind of tapping into that too. Because let's be real, we always liked underdogs, and Bubsy in this, from what I saw from the demo, Bubsy is an underdog. And I can't say I'm not. I don't like it because it's kind of like, it's different from my take. Because Bubsy is proving himself, but he's never like in my stories, he's never really like the underdog for real. He's a dude that proved himself, and he's the dude that like led the charge against Draconis and with the fedora. And I really like how I did with the fedora, like grabbing Bubsy. And I was just thinking to myself, if this was an actual comic, that would totally be on the cover. That would be on the cover of the Fedora Chronicles, like just the fedora in his torn blue suit with his blue fedora and his green face, just holding Bubsy, and you actually like see you see the little word bubble of him going, "Oh God, why?" And like when I was writing that, it's almost like I could hear it almost like the visceral of like Fedora, who is this like very stoic character, just holding Bubsy because he's like knocked down in a coma. And there's actually like an alternate part that I forgot to put in where Fedora's like, Bubsy, come on, man, speak to me. Tell me one of your bad jokes. Come on, please, get up. Because like literally, yeah, a little too overly serious, and I understand that, but bruh, I can't tell you that I didn't have a blast, because I did. It was like playing as a fucking both comic book writer and an editor at the same time. And I think Dynamite Comics right now is like the closest thing to what I envision Chaos Portal to be. They're grabbing up all these licenses for these comics that people want to see, and I really think like that's cool. And I really think that Bubsy is cool. Does that mean I will ever go public with any of the Bubsy shit I've written? I don't know if y'all want to see that. I mean, I don't know, put a few likes in this video and let me know if you guys actually want to see that shit. I don't know if you want me to read it to you, but maybe somewhere down the line I can read it to you. Also, I am still doing the Mirai universe, but I was kind of holding off on Bubsy for a while because I had other things to do, but I might just do that anyway. But if you want to know some specific things about my Bugsy, just leave a comment. and I'll talk about it. Peace, everybody, and I just want to say, even though I talked a little bit about the Mirai universe, the fact that Bubsy is jokey, I never even got to talk. I had to save a few things because when I get to the Bubsy part of the Mirai universe, when when I get to the Bubsy part of the Mirai universe, I want to talk more about that. So I didn't want to give too much away. But yeah, Bubsy is a goofball that is a competent hero. In my universe, he doesn't really talk about his fame too much. But I always kind of had in the background that he knows that in our universe, in our world, he's kind of a joke. But in like, and the way we've been the way the various people in the Chaos Portal universe have been writing him, because he's aware of that. He's aware of Dirk and Davis. You know, he likes how they're doing it and how he's really like a household name over in the Mirai universe. Like I would say he's right up there with like in the Mirai universe, he's like right up there with like he's right up there with like the greats of like comic books. I'm talking Batman, Superman, Spider Man, everybody. Him in the fedora. I don't know. There's something about seeing another group write Bubsy in kind of a similar way, where he's treated a little bit more seriously, but a little bit jokey too. And the thing is about Bubsy, he's not supposed to be annoying to us. He's supposed to be annoying to the people he's dealing with, and that's the thing I've always kind of struck with him as a character. He's got to be annoying to the villains. It may be a little annoying to his friends, but only because, man never shuts up. He is by the very definition, he's a chatterbox. That was the thing. Bubsy talks and talks and talks and talks. That's the point of him. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. Peace.